I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group. We're excited to be here at the Defense Talks Conference talking to Mike Eastman, Executive Director for the ETS Sponsorship Program. Mike, thanks for joining us today to talk about the role of data and technology to serve our service members. If you would, I'd like to start by asking, your program aims to help our U.S. veterans. Can you share what makes Onward Ops unique and what problem are you trying to solve with it?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. Look, there are absolutely thousands of organizations in the country that aim to support veterans. And we're not in any way trying to replace their work. But I would argue that the statistics that we see show that there is still work to be done. Veteran suicide remains unacceptably high. We still struggle in the veteran community with unemployment, underemployment, homelessness. And part of that is due to a systemic way we approach transition. It isn't in any way a negative reflection on these organizations. They're all doing great work. But they are inherently reactive. When someone takes off the uniform to go return to civilian life, they are navigating that journey on their own. And they have to know, A, to ask for help, and B, who to ask. And so our organization wants to invert that. We want to go from reactive to proactive, connect with these service members early, determine what it is that they and their families need, and then steer them to the best available resources in the community they're going to live in. So it's really empowering those already doing the work rather than replacing them by making this a much more streamlined and personalized process.
And then how does a partnership with Google fit in with your mission?
Yeah, so the core of what we do is connecting a service member to a sponsor from the community they're moving to. Each of these veterans needs to know that someone out there still cares and someone can answer the questions that any of us would ask if we are making a major life change. Where do I live? Where do the kids go to school? How's the job market? You can't get that at the federal level, you get that from a local level. We do that through our sponsors. But we have to empower the sponsors with a way to connect with service members that could be geographically across the world. Google allows us to do that. It really supercharges this relationship. Through the tools in Workspace, they can collaborate in geographically separate areas in real time on resumes and on budgets. They can connect over video with chat or with Google Meet. So what it really does is it takes what we know to be important, a human relationship, sponsor to service member, and then empowers it with technology to make it just that much more effective. We really couldn't do it without these sorts of tools.
Well, in keeping with the theme of today's conference, what role does data play in what you're trying to accomplish?
Yep, our program is built on trust, right? They have to trust, new veterans, folks leaving the military have to trust that we have their best interests at heart. Part of that, to me, is that they own their data, so that everything we do is with their consent, and any data that they do consent to give us is secure. So again, the partnership with Google, the fact that we can use Google Cloud services and the high level of security allows us to say with great confidence that what you tell us will be safe, it will not be exposed to unnecessary risk. And the other part of this for me with data is that we want to be able to quantitatively prove that what we're doing works. Tons of organizations can assess what you need and connect you to a service. We want to take it that next step. You know what you needed, we connected you to a service. How long did it take you to get it? Were you satisfied or not? And then as you look over the next hill, we want to move into the predictive space. How long did it take you with this particular set of skills from the military to get a job in this particular region? And then that sort of fine-grained analysis you could expand across healthcare and real estate and the rest.
And then finally, how can our audience help more in this mission to serve our veterans?
Well, I'll tell you, there's a really simple way. We would love to have as many Americans as possible sign up as sponsors. And I'll tell you why. I'm a veteran myself. I just finished 30 years in the Army. And it is no mystery that Americans across this country want to and love to support the military. The challenge is, how do you do that? And in most cases, you default to a symbolic gesture because there's really no other way. You could donate to a cause, or you can fly a flag, or you can shake a hand. And those things are great, But becoming a sponsor is a genuine way to impact the life of another human being, a new veteran that's going to be your neighbor in your community. It'll cost you an hour a week, maybe, just to answer questions. And you will be changing the life of that veteran and their family for the better, probably making a friend in the process. Relatively low cost, but absolutely high payoff. So I would say, consider becoming a sponsor for our program. We would love to have you.
Well, Mike Eastman, thank you for joining us here at Defense Talks and just sharing some of the ways that you're sharing your service in a new way and helping veterans in the process. So thank you for being with us.
Thanks for having me.